Now, the table is always hot with current events and social issues, but sometimes they can get a little intense. Let's turn the temp down, take a breather, and get into this week's topic cooldown. So, Andre, I
Hmm.
wanted to ask you which of these, and you can only choose one, is most important for you to save? Your money, your time, or your energy?
Um, I think saving your energy is the most important thing because in doing that, you're able to do the other two as well. Like understanding when to conserve your energy helps you navigate how much time you spend on certain things, when to do certain things, and to what degree you do it. And understanding when to utilize that energy can help you delegate how much you work or more efficient ways to help you earn money. There's no real way to save time because time is always going, it's always moving. And for me, time feels more like a countdown than anything else. You're
Mhm.
always in a race to get things done before your time in this world runs out. And money is the same way. Like you can save for a rainy day all you like, but eventually that money needs to be allocated to buy something. Money and time both cap out at a certain point. But energy is the driving force behind passion, behind love and ambition, and hell, even the will to live. I mean, it's the very spark that life is made of, the essence of being alive. It's a lot. It's a lot. And this losing time is hard, but it's unavoidable because time waits for no one.
Right.
Not having money can be devastating because the amount of money you have directly dictates your quality of life. But without energy, you could have all the money and time in the world, but nothing will matter because you'll be empty on the inside. I mean, I know this is supposed to be a cool down discussion, but this particular question hit me close to home, Daquon. Like, you really have to protect and save your energy because if you give it out to the wrong people or the wrong things in your life, you could lose yourself. And once you've done that, it's hell trying to remember and recover who that was or who you were, you know. But Daquan, I want to pass this back to you, bitch. I don't want to get too emotional up over here. But what you think, bitch? Which one is more important to save?
I completely agree with you. Like, I think it's no surprise that I would choose saving my energy. As I've said
Yeah.
time and time before, like, I'm a energy person. I have really strong boundaries. I am a Capricorn with a heavy air sign stellium in my chart. Like, I need my space, I need my energy, and like, if you are disrupting that,
Yeah.
I'm leaving. I'm going, cutting the cord. Where's my sis? Cutting the
I'm
cord.
that man.
But as you said, energy is so important to everything that you do. You can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have the energy, what's the point? You can
Yeah.
have all the time in the world, but again, if you don't have that energy, you're not going to get out of bed
Yeah.
in the morning. You're going to, just stay there, stay wherever you were. And frankly, that's the same as having zero time, is to have zero energy because you have nothing to do during that time. And so it's also very important to save your energy because I think of energy as, even though it's renewable, it's still somewhat finite.
Yeah.
You can give your energy, but if you give your energy too much, you will burn yourself out. And there have been plenty of times when I have experienced burnout, and it doesn't matter. It's not a video game where you can go to sleep and, all your hearts and your energy
Recharge.
and your
Yeah.
life force,
Yeah.
recharges. Because once you hit that block of, burnout, it is so hard to recover your energy back to where it was before, if you ever recover it to that point. And it's also, one of the most precious things. Like, I really value people who, put their energy into what I do and like who I am. Like, that's one of the most valuable gifts you can give somebody, is your energy, because it's going to encompass your time and it may encompass, your money, and it shows that you care about them. you have, assigned a level of high worth because you giving out your energy can, help replenish somebody else's energy. Like I know for me, like there are some times when I just need somebody to be there and just like give me positive vibes, give me that good energy and like spend their energy on me. And that can help me get out of whatever funk that I was in and help me recharge my energy. But you can't do that if you don't have energy to give in the first place.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of things that people don't understand about how to like delegate how much energy they give out to people. Because
Mhm.
like for me, I was sometimes I was overdoing it, giving energy to a lot of people, so much time, so much of myself into people. I was pouring so much of myself into everybody, this friend, that friend, this friend, that friend. And I was realizing that by the time I was done pouring for everybody else, my glass was empty.
Right.
I had nothing to sip on. I had nothing to take. I had nothing to revitalize me. And I was realizing that a lot of people in my life were not returning that energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Mm.
one thing to give to someone and have a symbiotic relationship. So I give you good vibes, you give me good vibes. I give you compliments, you give me compliments. I give you whatever. So we are kind of synergy. You're working together. You're becoming like a wildfire instead of, I think it's what I think we talked about this before, but like I think relationships should be like, gasoline and fire. Like together they just become bigger, bigger, better, better, stronger and stronger, right?
Right.
But fire and water don't mix. You know what I'm saying? It takes away, one of them takes away from the other. One of them absorbs the other or whatever. And it's just like what I was realizing for me is that there were just so many people who were just taking. And I was just giving and giving and giving. And like I said, there was nothing left for me. There was no celebration left from my accomplishments. There was no self-confidence in me because I was giving it to everyone. And it's like you really have to give yourself your flowers. You really,
Right.
really have to say, bitch, you are that one. You really have to pour into you because if you don't have those friends, or you don't have that boyfriend or partner, or you don't have a family who's really close or whatever, then what energy do you have left? You have nothing but yourself. And if you're pouring it all into strangers who don't care about you, then you're just empty. And like I said before, I was running on an empty tank for a long, long time. I was kind of high functioning in that. And
Mhm.
I just had to kind of really take a breather and say, I need to take time to fall in love with me. And I know that sounds so fucking cliche, bitch, but like, I mean,
It's the truth.
it's the truth. It really is the truth. It sounds so fucking like, like rom-com type of thing. But like,
Right.
honestly, like, you really have to take yourself out on dates, take yourself out to just spend time with you, going to somewhere just to spend time with yourself and just enjoying being with yourself. Because I think people understand the idea of loving yourself, but also enjoying being with yourself. Like
Mhm.
you are really thoroughly enjoying being on your own. You're saying, bitch, I might be alone, but I'm not lonely. I'm having a great time. I'm having a
Right.
lovely time. And I think that that's what a lot of people run into. What do you think, Daquon? Like,
I agree. And I think that part of like, kind of dating yourself is so important because I remember when I first moved to New York, I had
mm-hmm.
this teaching job and I was giving all my energy to it because like that's like what I wanted to do. And there would be times when I felt like I wasn't, achieving what other people wanted me to achieve. And I was giving and giving and giving of my energy, but also not having that support to just like recharge. And then
Exactly.
there was this, and then I left and was unemployed for like a month. And I honestly found so much of myself. I found so much creativity. I found
Mm-hmm.
so much love and just like a place of healing during that time because during that I had all the time in the world. And the only thing that I needed to give energy towards was, finding a job. But that wasn't like, I always had confidence that like I can interview well, that I can, make something happen. And I just, had my faith that it would happen. And so I wasn't spending so much energy on that, but rather giving energy to myself. And I had that time to just explore the city, see sights that I never saw before, and understand who I was as a person. I had so many times when I took myself to just like walk in Central Park, read a book, chill out, watch the sky, figure out what I wanted to do in life and the person that I wanted to be, and feed all of that energy into myself. And it was so rewarding. It was, honestly, one of the most rewarding parts of moving because I finally
Mm-hmm.
had that time and that space to do it. And so there was a lot of dark times. There was a lot of times when I was like, should I have even moved here? Like, why am I
Mm-hmm.
not like back home or, doing something safe, something like that. But having that time to really recharge and put energy into myself allowed me to be like, hey, like it was a rough transition. We all know that, but you got this. You can do it. And it, put that fire under me to like really start pursuing my passions and makeup and really start, thinking more about content creation and, getting a professional license and all of that different things. And that wouldn't have happened if I was constantly, coming home after a long day of teaching with no energy to give to anyone, not even myself.
Yeah, I really agree with that. And I don't want to get too deep into this part I'm about to say here because I know this probably gonna be a whole other episode, but I really do think that, you know, when it comes to career paths and it comes to like, things like, passions and stuff like that, you know, taking a risk on yourself is one of the hardest things that you're gonna do. Believing in yourself because it's so easy to take the practical route. It's so easy to do the safe thing, keep the safe job because yeah, it might stress you out, but the money's good or the whatever. But then you realize, like you just said, that you're not happy, that you're not genuinely feeling that sense of fulfillment. And I think that there are days, ooh, bitch, and like I said, I'm not gonna get too deep into it. I'm not gonna get too there.
We're
But
going
like
to
I
skim the
said,
surface.
just skim the surface on it. But there are days where I'm just like, like you said, the same thing. Like, did I make the right decision with this? Is this the right choice? And it's like, all I can think about in my life is, when I look into my future, is there's nothing else I'd rather do. But I can't get into that too much. That's gonna be another episode for you. But so
You got to
many
follow to see that episode.
exactly, please. But so many children grow up never knowing the full scope of what their culture has contributed to society and history. So it's time for a change. Let's take a pause, rewind, and remind the world just how we did that. In an article written on blackpast.org, contributed by George Tambin, we learn about Robert Sinsgate Abbott. In May 1905, he started publishing the Chicago Defender. In the early years, he personally sold subscriptions to the paper and advertising by going door to door. The paper attacked racial injustice, particularly lynching in the South. Many places in the South effectively banned the paper, especially when, during World War I, Abbott actively tried to convince Southern Blacks to migrate to the North. Abbott managed to get railroad porters to carry his papers south, and he ran articles, editorials, cartoons, even train schedules and job listings to convince the Defender's Southern readers to come north. The Great Northern Migration, as it was called in the Defender, resulted in more than 1 million African Americans migrating north, about 100,000 of them coming to Chicago. The Defender was passed from person to person and read aloud in barbershops and churches. It is estimated that at its height, each paper was sold and read by 4 to 5 African Americans, putting its readership at over 500,000 people each week. Now, in the burgeoning times of the economics in 1920, with hundreds of new products and growth of advertising, the Defender became an economic success. and Abbott, he became one of the first African-American millionaires.
You
Black
gotta
people.
say it. Black
Black
people.
people.
But I also love this we did that because I knew about Abbott before and the Defender because, AFAM major. But I love it because it really shows the power of Black publications. Like, one of the reasons that I got into, African American studies as a field was I loved going into the archives and like seeing all of these, original copies of small Black publications and presses and just like seeing what they were doing for the Black community. And I was like, it sparked something in me. Even my advisor would tell you that like when I got onto some, Black magazines and Black publications, I was reading into so much because it just opens your world so much. So love that. Love to hear it. And my we did that comes from CNN's Profiles of Perseverance, where we learned that for much of the mid 1900s, it seemed like the world learned about Black America through the eyes of Gordon Parks. His creative endeavors were astoundingly versatile. Parks performed as a jazz pianist, composed musical scores, wrote 15 books, and co founded Essence magazine. He adapted his novel The Learning Tree into a 1969 film, becoming the first African American to direct a movie for a major studio, and later directed Shaft, a hit film that spawned the blaxploitation genre. He but he reached his artistic peak as a photographer, and his intimate photos of African American life are his most enduring legacy. In the decades that follow, Parks traveled the country capturing iconic images of the segregated South, the civil rights movement, and such figures as Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. His images now grace the permanent collections of many major art museums.
Daquon, you know what I really love is when I hear first. When I hear that, like that shit, it hit different, bitch. It hit all the way different.
Like the first African American to direct a major movie.
He said, "Who gonna check me, boo?"
Right.
Black people, black people, black people, black people, black people.
Per.
Now, as always, thank you all so much for watching and keep the conversation going down in the comment box below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you are listening to us on our podcast, please rate and review on whatever platform you're using. You can also follow our podcast on Instagram and TikTok at the Melanin Margin for updates of new content.
And if you like to follow each of us, our handles are at Daquon MUE
and at Andre Talks a Lot.
Now we will see you all next week on the Melanin Margin, where our goal is always to bring the marginalized to the spotlight in any way we can. Goodbye now.